Good afternoon and welcome back. I hope you all had a nice break and managed to rest a bit during the holidays. Today we are here together for the first webinar of the year organized by eTwinning Europe. My name is Marta and I'm pleased to host this event today. Just a practical information for the audience, the webinar is recorded and the recording might be used for dissemination purposes. If you have questions, please post them in the chat and we will have a Q&A session at the end. Today's focus is student councils and their role in schools towards a more sustainable and inclusive schools. And I'm delighted to welcome our guest speakers today. Marika is a Romanian language and literature teacher at Petru Rareș, I hope I pronounced it correctly, National College Backland, an eTwinning and Scientific ambassador. She has been teaching for 18 years and she is proud to represent an active eTwinning school. She is the school coordinator of the ErasmusPlus project and a teacher trainer. She's passionate about eTwinning and likes to involve her students into projects because she thinks they learn best when they are given voice and choice. Loredana is an English teacher at school Bodosani in Romania, an eTwinning school that was part of the Monitoring Twinning School pilot program. She has 20 years of experience in teaching and more than 10 using creative writing and interdisciplinary classes. She is an eTwinning and Scientific ambassador. She loves science and languages and believes students learn best when they are protagonists of their own learning process. But without further ado, I would like to give you the floor. Welcome and thank you very much for being here today. Hi Marika, I will upload your presentation.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for having us here. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today, even it's a Friday evening with so many people I know from previous projects.
That's great. I hope you can move the slides yourself. I will do it for you. Okay.
Let me just tell you that it was a challenge to speak about student councils and their role, and then I decided to embrace this challenge because I currently work as a vice principal for almost a decade. So my part of work has always been related to that of student council. And I was checking while preparing for today's presentation how long do we have this practice in our school. And I found the list of the students who are part of the Students' Council in our school from 2012, which is a lot of time. Therefore, not just that I come from an eTwinning school, I come from an eTwinning school where students have always been part of the decision making, where students have always been valued. What I will present today is going to be related to the role of eTwinning schools, to the mission of eTwinning schools. I was telling maybe we are lucky that we have management involved in eTwinning, and this is how the school embraced this amazing opportunity. I will speak about the student councils as it is in our school, and then a few things about how we involve the students, how our students are agents of change in our eTwinning, Erasmus, and European Parliament Ambassador Schools project. I want to start because Loredana will come with the will complete with amazing examples of what they do best as an eTwinning school. Also, I want to speak to you about the eTwinning school, the eTwinning school's mission. It's important, but I'm sure that here today there are many eTwinners who are part of eTwinning schools. I've seen many ambassadors joining today. I know that it's a reward for any school to be recognized as an eTwinning school because they are leaders in digital practice. They know and share and tell the world about e-safety practices. they innovate, they are creative, they promote professional development both for students and both for their teachers and for their executive management team. And also, eTwinning schools collaborate. eTwinning schools are European schools. Actually, I come from a school which doesn't have, in Romania, we have this recognition of European school, which is awarded on national level. We never got that recognition, but we are more than a European school of all that means for what we do in eTwinning and Erasmus. Um, why is it important to speak about eTwinning schools? Because they empower students, because they make the students, they encourage them to be researchers, they encourage them to be advertisers, to become technicians. And think about how important this was in this pandemic context. Um, maybe I spoke about this before, but it was so hard when in March everything stopped, and at least in my country, nobody knew what to do, what applications should we use, how will we teach online. I want to tell you that I was teaching at that time sixth grade students, and they were used to eTwinning because they were working in the previous year in project, and we had spaces where they collaborated. So it was so easy for us as an evening school just to move online, just to continue doing virtual classrooms. And I know I wasn't the only twinner who did that. Many of the ambassadors used the twinning platform as a resource for teaching. And then it became so easy to tell the world, hey people, eTwinning is safe environment. eTwinning can be used. So many teachers joined eTwinning after that, which was rewarding. Um, on the other hand, students are not just researchers; they are communicators. They became participants. They are not subjects of their learning. In our school, which is an eTwinning school, students are participants. Students are facilitators, peer-to-peer mentors to each other. Uh, and I think this makes them and the whole community protagonists to the growth of the entire school environment. Um, I put here a few images about the eTwinning School's mission because the compass of the eTwinning Schools is the eTwinning School mission, and I know it. We encourage shared leadership. It's important that the decisions are made together. When I came to this school many years before, I felt like home. And I think it's very important to be in a school where you can feel you are at home. It doesn't matter if you are a teacher or a student or any member of the school, as long as you can participate and you can make a change and the difference and your voice is heard. Schools collaborate, embrace teamwork, are models for our schools, for other schools, and we try very hard to pay it forward. All I know as a meeting ambassador, I have learned here from some of you actually who are on this online event. I learned many things from my students, from fellow teachers. So the mission of the Twinning School is a collaborative one. So why not make it a European collaborative school? I found today the image of this year's annual theme. Our future can be beautiful, sustainable, and together because inclusion and innovation actually in my school are part of our school plan. Collaboration, sharing, teamwork, both inside and outside of school. Because eTwinning schools use this shared plan to bring innovation and to bring change in their school. Students have a role um, to help develop the eTwinning school, their classes, to help their every colleague grow, to help every school become a better school. They are the best promoters of the twinning as long as they are given voice and choice. About voice and choice, of the students, how better to emphasize it than through the student council. You can see here in the image the president of our student council. She has been elected. We run elections, and students are very, very, very eager and campaigning for it. And it's very important because this way they really choose their representatives. They really feel represented in decision making in our school. Um, I think it's very important for each school to have this kind of approach, to not just to have them formally in the commissions they should be or they are required to take part, but to ask them because they are amazing. I want to tell you that our best projects were the ones um, which had the students at the base of the project, where they created the project and they intervened, where they made changes when something was not as they wanted it to. Um, they are part of every extracurricular activities, and if you know as a school teacher how to bring them to your project, they will give value to those. My student council is part not just of the robotics team my school has, but participates to twinning projects, participate to Erasmus projects, participate and promote the European Parliament ambassador schools activities. Many of them are junior ambassadors also, and they are part of the county level student associations. They are part of the associations we have in District Anasaud County as well. They are not just given voice, they are not just listened to, they are encouraged to bring their approaches, to run their own campaigns. One of the campaigns I really appreciate, they have it for few years already, is the shoebox. They volunteer each December. They find those in need, and it's a campaign they run together and by themselves every year. You can see a picture which is part of another campaign they had. It's Europeans against COVID-19. It's from the very, very beginning of the pandemic, and they wanted to post to use the social media so that to raise awareness in for their colleagues, to spread the word that everything will be fine. Yesterday, while as I was preparing for the presentation, uh, I I asked them. I created the Menti and asked them about what they think the role of the student council is in our school. And most of them said that they feel that they represent them, that the role of the student council is to communicate, uh, to have initiatives, to organize, but also to support. These are all answers as I receive them from my students. And I think it's very, very important to have their voices heard and to let them have many initiatives, to encourage them to speak up for themselves, to volunteer. Um, if you see here in the picture shown, this is the campaign from 2019. This time I'm voting. This was initiated by the European Parliament ambassador schools, junior ambassadors. Yeah, and they really became active communities of learning, of lifelong learners. In fact, one of the students who took part to this campaign, who is now a university student, um, when she was asked for feedback, she told us that what she treasures from high school are the projects. That the way she learned there, the way she communicated, and the situations she was part of made them what she is today, and she said she was grateful to it. It's important it's important to empower them, to let them be involved, to let them change, to let them improve, because those institutions, those schools where students are involved, you can see them. I mean, I mean, those are the real eTwinning schools. Those are the growing schools, the dream schools. Um, this annual team is speaking about. Um, Also, I asked them how they envision a sustainable and inclusive school. Um, they speak about green school. They speak about open-mindedness. They speak about communication. They speak about raising awareness. They speak about projects. Um, and I think it's very important to let them contribute, to let them decide how they want to be involved, what they want to bring to the growth of their schools. My students said yesterday they want activities. They want to run campaigns. They want to participate to projects. And I'm really grateful for this because one of the goals we have in our plan, in our school's plan, is sustainability. So if they want the same thing that the leadership wants, it means that it was agreed together. It wasn't something that they just found out about it and okay, let's guys have a project about. I don't know. I tried it. Maybe you have it. You have tried it too. The project, the beginning, the project I loved as a teacher, and I tried to make them participate too. And I thought, oh, these are great, amazing ideas. They didn't. I mean, they participated, but they, those weren't the successful projects. The successful projects, the successful activities were the ones when they could find solutions, when they could work, when they could collaborate, when they were given the voice and choice. And guys, I know it's hard. It's easier for you as a teacher to come up with a plan, but as an old ambassador, as an old teacher now, experienced teacher, for me it was easier when they made team with me. Because when students, student councils, classes you teach with are part of that project from the very beginning, are part of the activities that are run in the school from the very beginning, are let come up with the best choices, that's when magic happens. Um, I was telling you that students are agents of change. They are visionaries. They are the scouts. They are ready to make a difference if they are allowed to. They are encouraged to think ahead. If they are led to act, to do a difference. I'm proud that in my school, um, the greatest treasure we have is the community. Uh, I really believe that the difference made by people. The greatest value we have is sense in people. So when we have teachers and students who are not afraid of change, uh, when we have students and teachers who want to build a secure environment, then we our schools are happy and have all the chances to grow and become really successful. Um, I was telling you about the role of student council. Let me give you a few examples of how they involved in our project. Um, and those who know me as an eTwinning. Anything else I do is it's just a side, it's just a part of what I do. What I do and I do it well is eTwinning. Um, I am because it kind of defines me as professional. All I know, all I learned was from here, from some of you, from colleagues and partners who had who wanted to work in projects with me, who taught me. And this is why I like to pay it forward, to speak about it. This is why sometimes maybe I sound too enthusiastic about it. But trust me, eTwinning is the bridge to anything. Actually, today I received an amazing news for my school. Today, my school received the Erasmus accreditation. But let me tell you that we didn't receive the Erasmus accreditation because of the Erasmus. projects only. Of course, we have Erasmus project, but what we do in our school and what we really achieved is because of eTwinning. Uh, as you can tell, we are a proud eTwinning school. We appreciate diversity. We promote human values from as long as I know. Um, we want to be an a green behavior school. We try to achieve that, and also we try to raise awareness about e-safety issues while trying to develop our students' key competencies. Um, One of the projects we were working last year, an eTwinning project, uh, Digital EU will do. Um, it's a bilateral project. It's a collaboration between Anne Frank School from Germany and Colegiul Național pentru Iarăși-Beclean. And this project, students learned about disinformation. Students learned about fake news, about how they can be manipulated online. They even learned how to manipulate themselves and to create fake news. Actually, they had a lot of fun working remotely, working from home on the Twin Space. And the final product of this project was an ebook which contains all the materials they were creating in transnational teams. Actually, the project was one of the 22 projects awarded during the 68th European competition. But this is not why I love the project, not even because it's the team we were working about. It's a project I and my students love because it really made a difference. It made us aware of what to post and not to post online. You can hardly find an image, a picture of a student in this project. They presented themselves taking pictures of their shoes. We have we needed a classroom picture, but we had the picture on Peakstone because we didn't want to expose our students. I think it's very important to have the complete and full support of the principal um, for your project, but this doesn't happen from the very beginning. I think that I think that you have all experimented it. We all started little projects with little activities because it's not easy to change. But if somebody doesn't make the step, then change never occurs. Um, Now I have the support, but I didn't always have it. Um, and I think the easiest way to convince leadership to appreciate it is when students speak about your project, not when you speak about your project. When students, when you let the project speak about itself, when you manage to make a difference, and you will know that this isn't easy. This isn't achievable in one day, but we are eTwinners, hardworking people, so we can make it happen. The project we had this year in collaboration, because I told you in our school documents we have sustainability as an objective. Sustainable behavior was encouraged through this project also, Green Behavior Code. This is a project I founded and we ran in collaboration with Tunisia, Italy, and Spain. And this was a means to learn for myself as well. I was telling you to let the students have voice and choice. I am not an informatics teacher. I teach language and literature. I think we only had one informatics teacher in the team. Students who are working in collaborative teams, international teams in Scratch, taught us. I mean, I relied on them also. And I think it's important to rely on them because we all have vulnerabilities and I know, I tell them you have to learn, you have to develop new competencies each time. But okay, I can learn from them as well. This was a project where we worked in 9 transnational teams. I was telling you we coded using Scratch, and we had 9 collaborative final products. they were all manifestos for a green behavior to protect the environment. This year, we work with the same team again, with a part of the same team again. Tunisia founded this project and invited Maria Pia and me. So this year, we'll discover together how to plan a sustainable holiday trip. Um, Somehow everything happens in my school about sustainability and ecology, and you might say it's a lot. It's not a lot at all because we are a big school. We have 917 students. Therefore, we try to have the same idea which they chose at every level. So this year, the sustainable holiday trip will be planned by high school students. Um, and we are looking forward to work on the collaborative brochures. We want to see um, how we can impact, how we can have an impact on this as well. And also we dream of achieving a beautiful, sustainable future together. I am convinced that we will hear about this initiative in the future also because it's planned by students, and that as I was telling you, when I create a project which is about literature, because I'm a literature teacher, it's not always successful. But when I let them choose the topic, uh, we communicate wonderfully. So actually, it doesn't matter which topic I choose. It doesn't matter if the topic is not chosen by me. It's important for students to develop that idea, to have the idea to be one voice as choice. Why? Because students are agents of change. I was telling you about eTwinning. Now let's go a little bit to Erasmus. Actually, Eco Heritage Matters is kind of half eTwinning, half Erasmus. The project which is in the third year of implementation. It's a sustainable, if you want, activity because it's the continuation of our Heritage Matters project. And as you can see, we work sometimes face to face, but due to pandemics, now we work online. And you can see here, you will have the presentations, and you can check the links we provided also if you feel those are interesting. We made tutorials for them so that we help them work while we were online. And as you can see, since this is an eTwinning team working on the project, um, students are allowed to collaborate on topics like Corona comics, because this is the reality that hit us. So uh, we wanted to let the project develop. Uh, yeah, it's amazing because it's amazing data when you have the support of principal because it's easier, but it's very easy when you have the support of students and when you can make a team of teachers to work with you on the same project. One important aspect we were developing here are the eco clubs. You see here a few images from before pandemics when we were creating t-shirts, using some old t-shirts we had, and an image here during our remote travelings, which were online. I just want to say these are remote travelings, between remote travelings, because last year the project was living like a regular eTwinning project. We stopped, and this year we had the chance. We stopped the short term mobilities of students, but now we managed to have two activities in Italy and in Greece. But last year, okay, we had this pandemic, can travel, what should we do? And students said, okay, since it was in the plan to go and visit these countries, why not have some remote traveling? So we visited each country on eTwinning collaboratively. Each month we had a remote traveling somewhere, and this is the Croatian mobility. And then you can see how involved and how many students. And I can tell you that these are experiences of a lifetime. When students have the chance not just to read about reality and multicultural, is when they have the chance to live them on eTwinning or face to face, it really makes a difference. It's different. Uh, with the high school students, most of them are part of the school council as well. Actually, the school council in our school has 32 participants because we have so many classes. So each representative of each class is part of the school council. So, and of course, they have executive board also. But this way, the information goes to each class. This way, of course, we have the WhatsApp groups and all the rest. But it's important that the entire school is connected to our activities. It's important that what we do and what we collaborate is there. Parents know about it. Other schools know about it. And not to brag, I want to tell you, I was doing the same. It's important because you on eTwinning are doing amazing, amazing, amazing activities. I was always telling you, uh, amazing activities. Speak about them, promote them, let others know about the collaboration you have because well, now with pandemics, maybe you had more visitors in your classroom than before. But it's important. It's important for the community, for other schools to have this model of collaboration. Actually, I think we are blessed. Those who work on eTwinning know how to build a school culture that truly lives the eTwinning mission. And the eTwinning school mission is the ideal school mission. You see here a few images. I told you today it was about sustainability. I didn't choose them for purpose, but you can see the students from youth tourism planting trees in Kocaeli in Istanbul. They were the lucky ones. This was mainly an Erasmus project. We are learning to use the twin space. We are a resource school, and I am so glad for that. Actually, we were accepted in the project because of my experience as an ambassador. So we are the ones who teach the others how to use the twin space, and I like it. I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Romania it will become now part of Erasmus. Maybe it will be more valued or more appreciated. Maybe we will have more help in our schools as means of recognition. Uh, Although I know that teachers don't work for recognitions, the best recognitions we have is the one we have in school. Is the one knowing that we made a difference in the life of our students and my students, and maybe you see the same students. Some of them are from uh, from uh, from the EPAS team, the European Parliament Ambassador School team. We are a proud member of this program for I don't know, just count the years. I mean, we are old. We have the recognition, and we kept it. And the most important thing for this program is for students to promote European values. During the European Parliament Ambassador Schools activities, students learn the modules. There are modules about the European Parliament, the history of the European Union, um, values of Europe, how can you make a difference as a student. So we actually learned how to debate, how to promote. We had many campaigns we have run all these years. We even uh, we even went to Strasbourg as a prize just before pandemics because they were good. So when you have students who are that good, you have to stand up and do your best. You can see here a few images after pandemics because I told you we didn't stop. We have students from 6 years. So we have students from primary up to high school students. But most of our students are high school students, and yes, we didn't divide it. in Romania now they are given the possibility to have junior high school council. We didn't choose that. So each representative chosen by a class, one per class, is a member of the school council. So this way, we are one united school. We are not primary, gymnasium, high school. This was the philosophy we had before they introduced these junior school councils, and the students decided to keep it. They were asked, okay, so what do you think? Have elections so that you have representatives for gymnasium, and they said no. One school council. I was answering to Alfonso's questions. Um, and yes, they all participate, even the ones from the first class who don't know how to write yet, who are learning to write, but they can go back to their school, to their class, and they can tell what is happening in school, what they decided to, what activities. So, because since we are a big school, we have activities in more buildings. So everybody is connected to what happens because they are the ones who keep us united and connected, and we really treasure their activities and their work. You can see here a few images from learning about the European Union, learning about the modules which they teach their classmates online. Um, of course, they now they don't promote activities in classes as they used before, but now they have social media and they have Padlet and they have Facebook, and they have a point of information with novelties each day for their peer students. I think it's important, as I was telling you about the eTwinning project, it's important about every activity the student council is having. It's important to be disseminated. The whole school has to know what's happening because you may have a surprise. There are many people who are shy. There are colleague teachers who can help. There are colleague students who would do amazing things if they would be asked to get involved. I was speaking today about inclusion, and I want to tell you that we really try. We really try to appreciate diversity, to welcome each and everyone to our school. If minorities, if students from any part of our region, students with any economic background. So we really try um, to make everyone feel welcomed in our school. I don't know if we always manage, but we try, and this is very important. And I wanted to show you our Christmas tree because today it was about involvement. It was about students' involvement. It was about change. Here we decided not to buy a tree but we wanted the Christmas tree. So we bought a tree which is going to be planted, and it was everything was decorated by the students from the eco club, from the eco heritage matters team. I think it's important to have a team, whether they are teachers, whether they are students. It's important to work towards the same goal because actually we all want a beautiful future together. We all want sustainability, and we all together can make magic. Alone, it's very hard, but together we can make a difference. I wish you all um, find the strength to build inclusive, sustainable, and amazing communities in your schools. If there are questions, post them in the chat. I will answer them now or at the end of the presentation. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Marika, for the presentation. I think that the participants, in case they have questions, they can start posting them in the chat, and we will leave 10 minutes at the end maybe to address them. I would like now to pass the floor to Loredana. I will upload your presentation Just give me a
Yeah, thank you. It's
second.
okay. I can also share my screen because it will be easier if I don't go back and forth between my presentation and the Padlet for the last few minutes. Whatever you think, it's okay by me.
Yeah, sounds good. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, I will just share my screen. It's a lot easier this way. And let's see if I can put this in the background. Okay, so I'm Loredana Popa. I teach English, but I also have an interdisciplinary eTwinning class for fifth graders. We've had that for a couple of years in our school. And our school is a primary and lower secondary school, which means our students are between 6 and 14. We do have a student council comprised, just like in Marika's case, of one representative per class, but because they are so young, they are not allowed to be officially involved in the decision taking, but we find other ways for them to actually have a say in what goes on in the school. So why student agency? As Marika said, it is really important for students to be engaged and they feel empowered whenever they feel that their voice is being heard, when they feel that they are in charge of the learning process, of their progress, of their own growth, both personally and professionally, and because it increases their motivation. If our motivation doesn't come from within, then we are fighting a losing battle. That it has to come from them, and it also allows them to work at their own pace because they are taking the reins of their own learning, and it creates a safe environment and an inclusive one. And this is a video that you will be able to access. It was created with Natalia Titi for an event we had together, and it basically says why we should pass the floor to students. For today, I chose just a couple of examples. First is from an eTwinning and Erasmus project called Learning Differently, which got the European language label and also first prize, national prize for Erasmus and eTwinning project. And I will be sharing just a couple of screenshots from the methodological e-publication. And what you will find here, and you will be able to access it, the link is functional, you will find materials created by the students for students and also for teachers. And they focused a lot on evaluation games, on evaluation materials, but they did it in an interdisciplinary way. They loved combining maths and language and history and whatever they were studying at that moment because they felt it was more fun and more engaging, and it allowed them also to work in teams. So each could bring their own focus and each could bring their own interests to the table and their own strengths. They also loved creating evaluation games that they would test on teachers, like the one on the right. It's the nervous system. It's an evaluation game in English, and they tested it on our Erasmus partners, and they had lots of fun asking teachers to answer questions. So why are we focusing on the idea of students as protagonists? Because the key to getting from I cannot do this if my life depended on it to I really want to, imagine you are on The Voice and the students have to press the button, I want you on my team. So the focus, the key ingredient is letting students know that each and every one of them is essential. So they have their own contribution and everyone's voice should be listened to. And why they love creating interdisciplinary treasure hunts and activities, because that's the way life works. It comes at you with problems that have all sorts of aspects related to maths, to geography, to languages. It's not just one thing that they learn in school. Another thing they did was a creative writing trading kit, a trading card kit. This was basically their way of making creative writing fun, which meant it allowed us to integrate all these bits from school subjects into storytelling mode and made them engaging and memorable and made students do research and actually narrate. Imagine you have to explain in equations, but as a story. Or you have to explain physics, but make it as a story, make it a good one. It's a lot more fun for students to do and a lot more memorable. And this is basically how you would use our kit. But again, you can adapt and you can do whatever you want with it. We are flexible and it's an open resource. Basically, they pick one card from each category and then they have to create a story. So you might get, well, you're not going to get Mozart, but you get the gist. You might get Mozart, you might get a place from Romania and a dish from, I don't know, let's say Turkey. How do you put those two together? And you get, for example, a surprise word, which could be something that is completely unrelated to the period Mozart was living in, let's say iPad. So put them all into a story and ask questions about the other stories. And at the moment they start clarifying those stories, those aspects, that's when deeper understanding and learning happen. Again, this is an idea that students kept developing and they came with their own twists. So the way we do things, we run all the ideas by them and we start asking them, what do you want? What works for you? What do you think would work for another group of students? This is another idea you can use, but obviously, this went a little bit overboard. It tells you to pay attention to the background. I mean, historical background. You're not going to have Mozart or Isaac Newton in genes. And the other project I'm just going to focus on is because it just ended. It is another Erasmus eTwinning project that actually started from an eTwinning project that also got the European language label in 2020, I think. In 2020. And we hosted a virtual mobility last week. And I will show you the program, but just, snippets, you can go and check it later. And I will also spend the last 3-4 minutes just showing you the Padlet. What we did was try to involve as many students as possible. We have around 740 students. So we figured, since we are hosting, there's no way students will have their voice heard if we just choose 10 students or 20 or 30 or just 2 classes. So we went to absolutely all the classes that could take part. And we chose everyone that wanted to take part. And we invited parents as well because we were online and they had the code to the link to the Zoom meeting, and they were able to join and see what the students were doing. So it was 300 students. I think it was actually closer to 350, but they had 15 different workshops, which means when we first planned the mobility, I went to every single class and I said, of all the things we've tried in class, of all the things we do and you enjoy, or of all the things you think we could do, what do you think would work for your class? And it was nerve-wracking because we kept changing the program. We kept testing their ideas and improving, and they kept having brighter ideas. And we had to change the program up to the last day. We actually replaced one of the workshops because we had to adjust to the class being online at that point. They tested the activity and they said, well, it's not going to work, so let's do something different. And they felt so empowered when they were the ones who were deciding who does what, who comes and introduces the project. We filmed videos where students were explaining to the other students from the other countries what they should expect from their workshop. We had them prepare surprises and games and challenges. So on the first day, the first one was a creative writing activity with 7th graders, their first contact with students from other countries. And we had a little bit of let's get to know each other exercise. And then we went to improvisation theatre. Then we had a mock trial. We put ordinary objects on trial. My students presented an example. They chose a piece of tile that was accused of breaking somebody's ribs. And we had the accusation and the prosecution and defense, and we had the judge and we had witnesses. It was lots of fun. And then we moved on to mystery country, which is something my students loved. meaning you have to guess the country your partners chose by asking only yes or no questions. Mine chose Sierra Leone. Fifth graders, again, their first contact ever with anyone from outside the school. So this, the image on the left is the icebreaker. We chose quite challenging questions, but questions that made them really chatty. For example, would you rather be able to see 10 minutes into your future, or 10 minutes into the future of anyone but yourself, and why? Or would you rather have scales or have feathers? They were unusual questions, but they get them talking. It works with adults as well. And the improvisation they had to do. Again, we used Will Decide, sort of Will Decide. We had to spin the wheel, and whatever topic, whatever situation we had, that's what we had to do in 10 minutes. Our students just filmed one with, do you remember the day you played tennis with Scooby-Doo? It was the first day. It was challenging because I had to move from one class to another. One student was setting up the equipment, another one was preparing, the background. So I had a lot of help from them because I'm trying to teach them how to get organized and how to work as a team without me. But for 10 of the classes, it was their first contact. So they're not actually used to being in charge of the entire process. On day 2, we had an icebreaker with the first graders. They wanted 2 workshops, so we gave them 2 workshops. And it was 2 truths and 1 lie. The 7th graders were online, a couple of them, and they acted as mentors. Then we had Dixit with a twist. You will see an example. And it was one of the activities that all the students loved. They had to work in international teams. And the last one was art and craft, a very dense workshop because it was my own class. 5th graders, they had so many ideas that I couldn't keep up with them. They wanted a virtual museum. They wanted a treasure hunt. They also wanted Minecraft surprises. They built stuff in Minecraft for their partners. But they also wanted games with traditional food and traditional costumes, making posters, giving the others challenges about creating objects from recycled materials. So many ideas. And I told them that we could actually do the entire mobility just with them if we wanted to, because they had so much potential and so much to offer. On the right, where you see the little mouse, well, the big mouse, that's the Dixit. Basically, I uploaded a couple of sets, and they each had to choose either one card and create a story, or an entire set and combine the cards, which is pretty impossible since I gave them about 16 cards in one set. But they loved, challenging themselves, and they loved the idea of combining cards and of thinking outside the box. And what was even fun is that what was actually more fun was that my Romanian students actually did not know some of the traditional dishes because they had never tried them. So they were not entirely sure how to match the picture with a name. They were a bit confused, and it was lots of fun because those were dishes that they proposed. Day 3 came with a linguistic workshop. My first graders taught them basic words and phrases in Romanian, and we then moved on to Book It, and we played Battle Royale. And if you've never tried Book It, try it. My students are addicted to it. Then we moved to storytelling, Mime and Emojis. Basically, you get random emojis generated whenever you press the button, and you have to continue the story incorporating the new emoji. Lots of fun. And the last one was an art and music workshop, where they had decided to create a bird out of used materials, used newspapers, old drawings, whatever they had handy. They just created the contour, and then they created the birds. They could be imaginary, they could be real. So up on the left side, you can see the emoji prompts. That's one story they had to create. And of course, we did that in international teams. And on the right and on the bottom, you can see my first graders trying to beat the others in Blooket, but they're just first graders. It took them a while before they could read the word in English and the word in Romanian or the phrase. So they did not win. Portugal actually won, and we were very impressed. And the Greek partners had excellent pronunciation, and they were so happy to learn new words and phrases in Romanian that they created their own games for us to play on Blooket. We can import on Blooket from Quizlet. So if you have a set of flashcards in Quizlet, you can just import them in Blooket, and it's amazing. And on day 4, we went on with creative story writing. This was my most experienced class. They've been running their own workshops on STEM, on creative writing since they were 9. They are very relaxed. They have absolutely no problem doing it. Then we moved on to our 4th graders, who again had so many ideas. So we decided who would present each stage, however they wanted to divide the time. It was fine by me. I just wanted them to be engaged, and I wanted them to create an activity with a focus on learning something from it. So the idea was, what do you think the others will learn from this activity you're designing? So we can't just, should we play Fortnite online? I mean, it's not a learning activity. What do you want them to learn? So they went with Minecraft because they love that. But they also did stop motion. They created their own robots and a story behind them. And they challenged the other students to pick a robot and just tell the robot story. What's its name? Does it have a job? What are his passions or his hobbies? What about the family? And it's so fun to see older students, 14, 15-year-olds, actually writing stories about robots and also building their own robots and giving it to us as a challenge. And the last activity was story with interrupters, which is something you should really try. We were actually online for this one. If you do this face to face, it's a lot easier because you start telling a story and you get words every couple of seconds, a new word from somebody in the audience. And the word has to be totally unrelated to whatever you're saying. And you have to continue the story and use the new word. And then you get another one. This time we were online, so we had hundreds of words coming into the chat. Everybody was posting words. And the storytellers, they were a bit shocked, but at the same time so enthusiastic. We had so many people who wanted to be storytellers. And the last couple of minutes, 5 minutes, I think the Greek student said, how about you? Why don't you, I don't know, try and be the storyteller, which is something I had done before, obviously. So I said, okay, send me words. You cannot imagine what they tortured me with, hundreds of words, but it was so much fun. The 4th graders also created comics, and they challenged their partners to continue their comic strip or to change a scene or to find a different ending. My 6th graders used this site, which you have access to if you go and check the program in Linehopper. Scholastic is absolutely amazing. You just pull, you just spin, and you get random situations. In this case, list 5 characteristics of a sunburned vulture who races go-karts. Now you go and write about that. And they had so much fun in international teams, and they're trying it all the time. And they actually ask me to give them homework, and I just say, you go and you just press spin, and you get your own homework. And the last day came with mystery animals. So much like Mystery Country, you get yes or no questions and you have to pick an animal. My 3rd graders, again, their first contact ever, and they were so eager and so enthusiastic. The moment the activity ended, the first question was, when is the next one? The same with the 8th graders for Let's Imagine the Future. We started with something that would be a debate, like maybe let's talk about the future of education, let's talk about the future of health. But then we switched to let's talk about jobs of the future. Let's talk about what you think the future holds for you. What do you think will happen in 50 years, in 100 years? And we had inventions and we had jobs, anything from pilot of a spacecraft to advanced intergalactic, I don't know, research team. They had all sorts of ideas. They even had a money machine for lazy people who don't want to go to work, or for people who prefer not to go to work but still get some money. But then they concluded that would cause inflation. So yeah, probably not a good idea. And we ended with bullying and script writing. My fifth graders are currently working on their scripts. They've decided to start writing their own scripts about bullying and bullying situations. And you can see some of the ideas. And they are also directing the entire process. They are the actors. They are also filming it. They are very young. Like I said, they're 11, but they've already written 7 scripts, I think. And everybody wants to write their own script because everybody was confronted with a particular bullying situation. And it's a way for them to give voice to what they felt, and to offer a solution that maybe they couldn't at one point. So they feel empowered because they are doing all the, all the hard work. I'm just asking them, what do you need from me? Do you need technical support? Do you need me to, I don't even correct the script. I have students who are really good and I ask them, can you please correct the scripts? Can you please help your colleagues? And they help each other with pronunciation, with camera advice, because I have a student who is really into video editing and audio editing and filming, and she's the one telling us where we should be, including me, and what we should do, again, including me. And I'm more than thrilled to listen to her advice because it's really precious. So these were the workshops that we had, and you will see more about our bullying script on School Education Gateway pretty soon. And I will just end with one idea. If you've never tried Nearpod to have students as content creators, you can do that. Mine use Nearpod to create lessons based on 5 legends from their partner countries from a different eTwinning project, A Journey Through Water. And they absolutely love Nearpod. And they are getting so familiar with it. And what's student agency without students as disseminators? Like Marika said, have your students do all the talking. Have them share their enthusiasm and also their worries and what troubles them. And I've just picked the latest participation in terms of dissemination. One of my students and a former student who graduated last year were invited at the eTwinning Schools Toward Blended Learning for All conference, and they shared with us what they think about their involvement in projects, about being protagonists, what they would like to see in terms of change, what the ideal school looks like for them. And they were quite on the spot. We just knew from Santi that they had to think about the ideal school and their experience in projects and that impact on them. But we didn't know what Santi was going to ask. So they were a bit nervous because they didn't know if they were speaking in front of eTwinners and teachers, and there were so many. And they were worried that some would be English teachers and that they would make mistakes. But when you go into eTwinning, a mindset develops, which is the one in which it's okay to fail, and that's something that students have to be aware of, that they should give their opinion and they should do it without fear, that they will fail in all likelihood at some point, but that it is okay, and to use that failure as a stepping stone. So students' agency as the new normal, this is what we should do, empowering students and having them co-host with us, co-create with us. And why? Because of what you can see, because it helps them grow and it helps them be engaged and be present. That's what one of my students told me about writing the script. She said, as a script director, as a script writer, and as a director, I felt present. And this was extremely valuable for me, coming from an 11-year-old. And I will just like to thank you for your participation. If you have any thoughts, you can just look me up on eTwinning or on Facebook or email me. And I will just go for 2 minutes to this Padlet. I'm not going to click on any of these because you can check them out, just so you can see what we did. So we had everything from interviews to improvisation. We have a pigeon's mock trial. This is our example. This is one of my students, and she had a very long trial. She accused a pigeon of stealing something, and it's a very colorful and quite intriguing, mock trial. She spent a lot of time. And we also have stories that are being uploaded and videos that are being uploaded by our participants, because a lot of the work was done asynchronous. There's no way we can finish writing a script or filming something in 40 minutes or in 20 minutes. So we gave challenges to each other. We are preparing the virtual museums where we are going to put everything we have created, and the ebook with all the stories the students came up with, or all the comics and all the brilliant ideas that they have. And the fun part for me, as the coordinator of the project, was that I had my students design the activities. I had my students design the actual process. What happens, who does what, who says what, when. I took part of the I was in charge of the technical part, providing them with whatever they needed to connect, and with support, because it was the first part for them, the first time for them. As you can see, we have games coming in all the 5 languages. We have a separate Padlet for all the drawings, the birds that they made out of recycled materials. And we also have different robots coming in and their stories. And my students will just get this image and they have to write their own story without first reading about the perfect robot Charlie, as it was written by Turkey. Students loved the fact that they were at the center of this, that their ideas mattered, that they could actually design something, design surprises, design challenges for the other students. We never just tell students what they should do. Just like Marika said, we ask them if we want to start a project, if we have visitors, for example, from other schools or from other countries. I always ask my students, what do you think will work? What do you want to do? And we trust them. We trust them to run their own STEM workshops. We had first graders do that. And it was so fun because they came up with all these experiments they tried with their parents. And it was fun because sometimes the experiments failed and they didn't panic. They just started laughing and they said, well, I don't know what happened. And our question was, okay, let's find out what happened. Why did your experiment fail? So it's learning by doing and learning by not being afraid to have your voice heard. And this is all I had to say for today. I will leave you with a piece of advice, just like Marika said, engage your students as much as you can and give them a voice and learn from them, because they love being teachers and they love being mentors, and they love sharing with you what they know. And they also absolutely love creating. They love being creators and evaluators. So trust your students and involve them best you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eleonora and Marika, for the great presentation. I see a lot of positive comments in the chat. Unfortunately, we are running a bit out of time, but I would like to leave the space maybe for one question that we had in the chat. It was toward the end of the presentation, and it was for you, Loredana. Aranzu
Yeah,
Zazu was asking, are you alone in the eTwinning action in these
yeah,
eTwinning actions?
I saw the question. No,
Okay.
I'm not. So we've always had the support of management team, and which is incredible for us. And no, I do have a team of teachers that I work with. Some of them are more experienced in twinning. Some of them have awards. Some of them don't. But I do have quite a number of teachers I can rely on, and teachers who like to think outside the box. Again, like in any school, we do have teachers who would rather not get involved because it's too much work planning and for whatever reasons that I'm sure you know. But yes, we do have a team. We do have teachers that collaborate, and you cannot do this on your own. It would be mental just trying to do that on your own. If you don't have a team, it becomes really difficult. I mean, imagine having to do this with 15 classes without the help of any colleague. So no, I did have colleagues I relied on, and I was really glad that my arts teacher, primary school colleague teachers, and religion teachers and headmaster, everybody pitched in best they could. Some held activities together with me, some designed their own activities with the classes. So it was really a lot easier for me to do.
Thank you very much. Before we close, just a practical information for the participants. I have posted the link to the evaluation form in the chat, so please save the link and complete the evaluation form after the webinar. But before we close officially, I would like maybe to leave the floor for a final comment to Marika, so we can see you again. Here you are. Great.
Just one thought. There to make a team, as Loredana said, alone you cannot do anything. But when you have a team of teachers or team of students working with you, you can do magic. So do the magic with your eTwinning project, because this will add value to your school and to you as professionals. Have best of luck this year and stay healthy. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much once again, Marika and Loredana. I wish you all a good evening and stay safe. Bye bye, everyone.